towards him. He flashes out. He's still low, but he's not down. And now he's putting the damage down from range. And just like that, Dark Passage, they focus back in while someone's focused out. They pull in, and another player picks up the kills. This time around, it's Crystal. Can he get a triple? Will he be giving it? I'm not too sure. Doesn't matter. Yes, he's going to take it. Nope. 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 Now it's just going to steal it. 6-0-5.
And that was an ace. 5 for 1 there coming in. Now you have Steel at 10 wood. And I mentioned the Mikhail's Crucible earlier on and how pivotal it could be for this game. You saw exactly why right there. He had so much damage done to him, but the Mikhail's kept him healthy enough that he didn't get bursted down, allowed him to flash over the wall and escape the malfight, and obviously not go down the fight. So, yes, it's tied between him and the AD carry of the opponent. Look at the gold difference.
Yeah, it's
4,000.
It's a big difference. And that's a full item right there. Well, we'll see. I think different dimensions definitely need to think of a different approach for the next game, because this one has not worked out. They've kind of been sussed out as the Draven ward goes down. Oh, what are you doing, Panda Life? What are you doing? I mean, you're hooking someone in and you're really getting nothing from it because the rest of the team are following through. Right now they have next to no vision, which is what he's trying to gain. And you do get a little bit with all those tunnels being dotted around, but they are grouping up in the middle lane. There's the tank going down. What are you going to do now? Nothing. Nothing at all, because the main tank has been dropped and they're just going to strip down this turret. 27 minutes into the game, first inhibitor turret goes down. Inhib will follow, and you know what? They may actually just be able to keep on pushing.
I feel like they can win this game easily with, what, almost 20 kills ahead right now? Not to mention the goal difference top of this. Mage so low in life, and without their engage there, without their whole Wamba combo initiate, then they have nothing. That's the problem. They've fallen so far behind because of this now. You know, Mage Bane, who really excelled in game 1 on that Orianna, is 0-4 and had a very bad last game as well. And Dominant, who played Graves quite a bit actually to get here in the semifinals, who had really strong games in that, hasn't been able to perform. It's not necessarily his fault. It's just, well, Panda's dead.
It's a trap, and Panda gets caught out around the side there. Ooh, a non-psycho. You didn't want to get involved in this fight. We're going to see maybe an Unstoppable Force. Doesn't fancy it just for the 2. And we're going to see the bounce away instead. Unstoppable Force still being held onto. But while that's happening, around the side, we do see the mid lane Mage Bane getting picked off. Lady Warrior now stripped off that health. That is going to be the 13th kill of the game, being picked up by Steelback. There's the Pantheon. Crystal picking up himself a kill. Dominant's going to run away to the tower, but they double flash on towards him. There's the surrender. And Dark Passage go 2-1 up after it was 1-0 loss at the start. And what a dominant performance, though, this time around. 27-5. At no point throughout this entire game did Dark Passage look like they were going to lose that. 13-1-9 for that bottom lane of Steelback. We were talking about in game 1 and game 2 how there wasn't really much going on between them. But this time around, he had the help of Crystal M. Wasn't really sure about the Rek'Sai, got to be honest, from a non-psycho. Kind of ineffectual. And I think himself probably hasn't had enough practice because his team didn't even know when he was going to gank.
I don't think he knew when he was going to gank some of the times. But again, I think it comes back to the whole combo that Different Dimensions is running. The whole tanky top laner, depending on your mid lane, your AD carry to be the only damage dealers for your team. Every single time DP has ran with a DPS hybrid tank top laner, and they've been able to, well, he hasn't really lost his lane that bad. They need to switch something up. You can't depend on this Wamba combo to win the game. And also the whole mid-game roaming. You know, you're saying before that everything seems to be switching to like a mid-game oriented kind of composition. Well, we started there. DP, they got a strong mid-game, and they completely just walked over them. 27-5 was the final scoreline, and Janna finished off at 0-0-24. Assisted in 24 out of the 27 kills.
Well, fantastic stuff. Dark Passage looking solid in game 3 here. We are going to have game 4 coming up shortly. Will it be Dark Passage? Will they take it all? It is theirs to win now after a shaky start. Honestly, we were very surprised by Different Dimensions in game 1, but again, they've pulled it back. Can Greece pull it back and even things out? Will we have all 5 games in this series? Find out, ladies and gentlemen, shortly, because we're going to go to a quick break. Game 4 will be coming up in around about 5 minutes' time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Southeast Europe Championships. It is the grand finals. It is currently 2-1 to Dark Passage. I am the D-Man Smith, and of course I am joined by Jason Kaplan, or J-Cap, lol, it used to be known.
Or Kaplan, Captain Kaplan.
J-Kaplan.
Or but I love you.
Or Kaplan Sapling, as you now know. Kaplan Sapling.
one.
We've born a new phrase. Pick a mans are underway, so let's get straight into it without further ado. So, Corki banned out. Wow! They're forcing Steel back onto something new. They finally realized, wait a minute, this guy's pretty good on this champion. Pantheon also taken away, so actually focusing heavily on what they've been picking. Crystal, of course, played that in the last two previous matchups. Orianna being taken away. Magebane played that to great success in Game 1, not so much in Game 2. And Maokai also taken away from Lady Warrior.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised to see them focus out the Pantheon and Corki. Like, it wasn't, to me, those two champions that was causing them to lose. It was literally just their play style that was making them mess up, having that tanky top laner. But, you know, it's like kind of, it's just take away what they're competent at, force them on something a little bit not as comfortable. You know, the least sim we saw Crystal on in Game 1 wasn't that effective, didn't really do too much. But, of course, Gnar gonna be the final ban. Jace as well. Jace's been banned out every game, but there's a lot of champions still open now. We have a lot of mid laners, which is always focused down, and there it is, Zed getting through.
Yeah, Zed getting through. Like you said, a lot of focus was formerly on Naru. That's all they were banning out to begin with, and they finally realized, you know what? Actually, the rest of the team's pretty good as well, not just this guy in the mid lane. So we should probably focus that one. It does mean, of course, Lissandra has squeaked through the cracks. Was played in Game 1 by Naru. Wasn't too great success.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily, I think, his fault in that one, though. It was the whole point of, you know, a non-psycho just ganking him over and over and over again on that Jarvan. That just completely punished him. It got Mage way too fed, and there's nothing he could really do about that one. But I'm curious to see if he is, in fact, mid lane, how he's going to do up against his Zed. Because Lissandra a pretty good counter to Zed, especially when it comes to ganking him. Pop the ult on top of him, you can lock him down, and he can't go anywhere. And a Mumu, though.
A Mumu.
That's going to be interesting.
I never realized Kobe was back playing, but it seems that Amumu is being picked back up here. Who knew? His time to shine is back, ladies and gentlemen. Get Kobe back in LCS. Crystal changing things around here. We'll see if it works for him, of course. There was Jarvan available, which I thought he actually may slip back to, or Lee Sin, of course, which is currently being hovered over by an on-psycho. Now,
I can almost guarantee there's going to be a Janna support here for DD.
Yeah? To just make sure they blow a Mumu away as soon as he comes flying in.
To stop his to disengage their engage, because they already have a Sandra and Mumu now, like two very strong engaged champions. So you need something to kind of counter that, to buy you a little bit of time to stop them from catching off guard. I wouldn't be surprised to see Janna. The Jarvan, it's worked for a non in every single game so far. Woo, Callista. If I'm not mistaken, is she available in Intel Matches Clone coming up this weekend?
Yes, because she was actually available in
the expansion tournament.
Was she available in San Jose? I don't think she was. No, she wasn't available in San Jose. When did she come out? Because it's always a 4-week gap. It may be available in Intellectual Masters.
I think, yeah.
If you're not sure, guys, that IEM Cologne is coming up actually in 2 days' time. Starts on Thursday, which is going to be the EU LCS expansion tournament. Actually, is what starts then, I should say, not the IEM Cologne. That's going to be cast by, obviously, Stress and Pulse are going to be doing that, as well as myself, Deficio, and Joe as a TriCast. So there you go. I've given you insight. If you're watching now, you know that is going to be happening on, I think it's the End Faculty game we're casting, actually, on day 1. But, back to pick and bans. Callista, again, different dimensions, pulling out different picks.
Sorry, I was like, different dimension, DP, different picks. Callista is going to be interesting to see how this one works, because we haven't seen too much of her yet in competitive, because obviously she hasn't been allowed to be played. But she's very, very interesting. Her wave clear is weird to see, if I remember correctly. You have to stack up your auto attacks onto one target, then use your Q, which makes it go through that one, then puts all your stacks on the next minion, which then will go through that one as well, kind of thing.
It's a hard one to explain. It's more a case you have to play it to see it.
Exactly.
Really, yeah.
And then not to mention the movement off of her is very unique. Very similar to Draven in terms of you have to always be careful where you're moving, because Callista will jump Draven, you have to pick up your axe kind of thing, or catch it.
Yeah.
But she has a lot of damage behind her. Not to mention her ultimate can be very deadly when it comes to, you know, these fights. And looks like we might not even see a Janna this time, but we could see a Rumble top lane, which would be a godsend here for me, because Lady Warrior is not working well in these tanky champions top lane, at least in terms of his team compositions. Rumble would be a good pick. The whole lock him into a equilibrium, not equilibrium. What is it called? Oh, what's Rumble's ultimate?
Equalizer.
Equalizer, thank you. Does so much damage.
Yeah, and actually this is quite a good counter to what you were talking
Was
about.
there a placeholder somewhere?
Didn't get to... Amumu is Thresh. Ah! Boo. Boo-hoo. Okay, so we're going to have that again. Amumu was Thresh, by the way, so that's all that was. Amumu was placed. That's a shame.
That is. But I didn't see the jungler was
Kobe, sorry guys. Go back to retirement.
Jump the gun.
Go back to retirement. It's not happening. It's not happening for you.
I didn't see what the rest of their picks were, though.
Yeah, I didn't see the final pick. They actually locked in down the end there. I guess we'll get to see it again in a moment. They're just going to go whiz through them. This is just going to be a quick pick and ban. They've already locked in who they're going to be. So it is Rumble in that top lane. Of course, we do see that it's going to be Lysandra up against the Rumble in the top lane. Tricky one in itself, that one. Rumble, though, has come prevalent a lot. Ari was in there. Yeah, he was the final pickup. And it is going to be that Lucian versus Callisto. We'll see how that works out. And a Sona. Sona's a good counter to what they've got here. And there is the Thresh as the final pick.
Okay, so the Ahri has been banned out every game against Naru. Finally let through, he's going to pick it up.
Yeah.
The Zed as well has been banned every single game, but Mage Bane now on it here. I'm really curious to see how the Callisto lane does up against the Lucian. I don't know why they're switching champions like last second. But the Lucian versus Callisto thing in terms of wave clear.
They're going to be AD Rumble.
Well, I'm like wondering, is Dom playing top lane and Lady Warrior playing AD? Okay, never mind. There they go. But wave clear is going to be a big thing when it comes into this one. Lucian obviously very quick at clearing out waves, especially with Thresh behind him with the runic shield. The sustain, though, out of Sona is really hard to deal with. But if you catch out of Sona with a hook, like that's going to be a free kill for you, especially if you have Lee Sin anywhere near to help out. But they have this really AP-heavy team, obviously, with the Ahri and the Lysandra, I can't remember the name. And they have a good pick comp. A hook into a hook into a charm, into a Lysandra ultimate. I can get there.
You can get there. You can make it eventually.
I can make it. Can kill almost anyone. So it's going to be very hard, but I feel like DD have them beat on picks.
And DD have been able to land those one-word combos, certainly in Game 1, not so much Game 2 and 3, because Dark Passage definitely stepped things up. So if you just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Southeast Europe. You can see it right there on the screen. It is the Championships, the Grand Final, best of 5. And, of course, that means it is all about expanding the regions, certainly in League of Legends and all other games. This isn't just single for League of Legends. StarCraft happened last week, and it's also gone on. If you're unsure what the regions are, it is, of course, Turkey, Hungary, Bulgaria, Greece, of course, who's being represented here, Romania, and Moldova. Also, the Adriatic regions, which I can tell you, of course, is Slovenia, Croatia, Malta, Montenegro, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Albania, Macedonia. How have you not heard of these? You're American. That's
geography.
why, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
That's why. You didn't even know where Adriatic was. I was like, it's what?
Hey, I know the capital of Switzerland, okay?
That's impressive. Well done. Yeah. Burn, baby, burn.
I got burned really hard on that, actually, by one of our producers one time.
What's the former capital of Germany? West Germany,
Bonn.
I guess. Yeah, you see, he knows. It's because it's nearby, that's why.
It's because I knew a girlfriend there, that's why.
Oh, wow. Okay. Geography by girlfriends, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're going to get here. But yeah, there's money up for grabs. This is the first rollout, I guess you could say, of
it's the first time we're doing
Southeast Asia.
To build up this region.
Southeast Europe. I keep saying Southeast Asia. I'm so used to sound C as Southeast Asia. It's the Southeast European region, and it really is expanding those territories. Of course, Turkey being probably the biggest one, which is why they are being represented, and they are actually winning now. But Greece putting in a very good showing here, different dimensions, really proving that there are other teams out there that can compete. Of course, these teams, sadly, I don't think can compete in the LCS. They're not actually able to because it's a limited pool of, I think it's people within the Shenzhen region. I'm not too sure how exactly who's involved in that region. Not too sure. I know, for example, Lithuania can't compete. I know that's where Gaming Gear were from in Season 3.
Yeah.
They wanted to get in the LCS, but they actually weren't because it's all about basically, obviously, I mean, it's not Riot. This is a global, worldwide law. They can't live within Germany, so it's the same problem that Gambit have. They obviously traveling. You've maybe seen Genja talking about how it was basically hurting the team because they're traveling constantly. It's just a simple fact that there is a law called the Shenzhen Agreement where they cannot live within Germany for longer than 3 months. If they do, they have to be outside of Germany for 3 months. Therefore, can't really compete, can you? So it's a simple worldwide law that, unfortunately hurts us in esports because we are kind of a worldwide sport rather
really
than
wonder
a single individual sport.
how damn good Gambit would have been if they could have lived in Germany.
I know. We always wonder that.
Like the travel they had to do, that they had to leave.
Yeah.
Like they would miss out on 1 or 2 days every week.
They would
of
practice 1 day a week. That's all they could
Yeah.
do. Whereas all the teams are like 5-6 days.
and yet
Easy.
they still just destroy teams.
Yeah, for a
scary thing.
fair period of time. But yeah, I got to be honest with them. All credit to Genja, Alex H, Darian, Edward, and of course that have all constantly been going. Diamond's still going at it as well. But you know, the fact that they had to travel, it's like a 2-day travel. I know for a fact, Eddie had a 21-hour travel day. So it's 21-hour travel home, 21-hour travel back. Think of doing that every single week
For a year.
and practicing for 2 years. Well, I mean, there's a good reason that he got a visa and went to America and said, sod this, I can go and live in LA and basically drive to the studio and back. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. He came back and did it all over again. Sucker for punishment, maybe. Who knows? Big Eddie, you keep it up, man. It's still working out for him. They're still there in the LCS. Back to the Southeast Europe Championships, though. We are loading and getting underway in a moment. It is Dark Passage, the Turkish team representing 2-1 up over Greece's Different Dimensions. Who is going to take Game 4?
Well, look at the lineups. It's gonna be a tough one. Nonetheless, seeing Kalista again for me the first time in competitive play. It's interesting to see how one's gonna work out. One thing I'm really liking though about this whole thing is that the amount of support that's come out of the region. I mean, we have 20,000 people watching. Like, it's really cool because you imagine Brazil, you think of Pain Gaming, wherever we did Intel Extreme Masters there, the crowd would go crazy. But to have all these, the smaller regions who don't get as much love from these, global tournaments are so supportive of their teams. It's really cool to see it. I hope to see this, obviously, region continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely things are livening it up, and these are big numbers that you wouldn't ordinarily expect to see from these regions. But there's a lot of fan support there. We know you guys, especially the Turkish fans. They've been filling stadiums for about 2 years now, and the Greek fans out there, they've shown up in big numbers. I'm trying to think when we actually had an event in maybe like Bulgaria, Romania, or Hungary. I can't even think of one. There is, of course, the Budapest DreamHack that goes on. That certainly pulls big numbers as well.
Well, sadly, it's kind of like, it's not like they're competing the region. It's like people outside coming into the region to play the event. So it's still not even that kind of level. But with stuff like this happening, if you guys obviously can get involved, we have another season coming up in the beginning of next year. We're going to start to see teams get better and better and better and start to compete on more of a global scale. So hopefully, the next 5-6 months, we're going to see that their metas kind of catch up, the individual skill of the players really kind of increase, and hopefully see them in some of these really big events. Like, for instance, we have Intel Extreme Masters Clone coming up. You have Aces High coming in from Turkey. So it's really cool to see how they're going to do against these teams.
Yeah, if you guys are unaware, obviously we do start on Thursday with the LCS expansion, Thursday, Friday. I think it's also maybe on Saturday as well, because obviously there's a couple of games in there, as well as the Intel Extreme Masters. As you mentioned, Aces High, if you're not aware, it's Holy Phoenix's new team. He was the AD carry, superstar that used to be on Dark Passage, that split off and created his own team after Worlds. We've also got a fantastic named team. You think Unicorns of Love is a good team? What about this? Dolphins of Wall Street. What a name, ladies and gentlemen. They are the Russian team coming in, going to represent, because unfortunately Moscow 5 were not able to make it due to the visa issues you may be aware of. So the second place team was Dolphins of Wall Street. Actually, I think they went 3-2 in the qualifiers as well. So they're pretty equally skilled.
Yeah, Jonah cast them.
Yeah, alongside them, of course, is Roccat. Are we going to see Ryu? Not too sure whether we'll get to see the new player that's in there. We'll see how that works out. Will we see Overpower in the top lane now? His new position, I'm not too sure. Gambit, of course, coming in. They've got Pinoy as their AD carry, who kind of ended out the season. We'll see how it's worked out with them. Kabashad, of course, in that top lane replaced Darian. So a lot of changes in that team. Have they synergized? Not too sure. We'll find out. Dignitas coming in. 2 new Korean players. Where the hell did they come through? Gansu and I can't even think of the other guy's name. But yeah, 2 random Korean guys they just picked up out of the blue. OD's done some digging on that one, that's for sure. I'm sure he's got his sources where he's found these players. But yeah, we'll see how they work out. And of course, Counter Logic Gaming. They are back once again. They were here in the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne last year. Unfortunately for Double Lift, he got dumped on by Reckless. This time around, it's not going to happen.
It's not like he trash talked him before.